mentors.
Right.
You know, there are probably countless times that you've leaned on someone for advice or trust or, you know, an opinion on something of the sort. I think that passively in our everyday life, we seek for advice, we seek for counsel from people without necessarily calling them mentors. But like everything that you want to pursue in your life, you need to deliberately work at it. And so the mentorship relationship is something that needs to be cultivated, that needs to be deliberately worked on. And if you do that very well, the benefits are enormous. Of course, you want to advance in your career, you want to gain more knowledge. And oftentimes they say that, you know, you don't want to make the same mistakes people who have already done it, you know. You don't want to make those same mistakes. You want to learn from the people who have gone down that road, who have made those mistakes and they have come out of it. Now, these people are in a better position to share with you these tips and these.
I'll get a couple of people coming into my inbox to say, do you want to be my mentor, right? So the clarity on what you want and how specific you are with the request is going to help you in the long term. That is, if you're going to approach some, a lot of people just go about it in a very vague way. They just go and say, oh, can you be my mentor? And you're like, okay, so what do you want to learn? What people need to realize is that their responsibility in terms of the work of that relationship, a lot of it depends on the mentee. You need to do your work, right, with regards to clearly outlining what you want to learn, how you want to learn it, and then your mentor can sort of guide you around it. I think also, especially if you're approaching people, not in a certain, like, say, a school or, say, an institution, and then there are mentors that are going to be paired with mentees, and you're just going to, like, more like cold calling, right, approach somebody on LinkedIn or at a meeting or whatever. I think it's always important to build relationship first, okay? This guy is posting stuff on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. You're a connection to the person. You never like anything. You never comment, nothing. You just dive into the person's inbox or say DM and just say, hey, you're my mentor. Yeah. If you want to get something from somebody, I think you need to show interest in the person. So it could be a simple like of the messages they post. For example, Lexis, it could be something simple like, hey, Lexis, I like your show.
And that's the potential of some of these apps that we have on our phone, but we don't really know, we don't really use it. Let's not just stay on Instagram and like pictures and food. Like you got to use it a lot more. It's got to be beneficial to you. Right. My Instagram is a business. My Instagram is a whole business on its own. I don't just post pictures on Instagram. Probably 7 out of 10, the thing I'm posting on my Instagram is being paid for. So right. that's how important it is that we need to utilize these apps and social networks that we have. Reach out to people. I have personally reached out to people on LinkedIn who I've had to probably have a conversation about work, or I've had to even do business. I've had a lot of business online. And so as much as possible, let's utilize these apps that we have. Let's get on there. I think that that's one of the easiest ways of reaching out to somebody who you identify as a mentor, or somebody you can reach out to for help or advice in any part of your life. The last question that the lady asked about whether you can, and I think somebody also asked whether you can have more than one mentor. Right. Yes, and it's similar to the last question about whether you can have mentors for different aspects of life. Absolutely. And that's actually the way to go. Think of your life as a business. Think of your life as a company, right? You're the CEO of your life, right? You make the strategic decisions. But there are so many other aspects of your life, like your finances, like your family life, like your relationships, right? You know, like your spiritual life. All these departments need work, you know, and you can't, you probably might make the best decisions for all these departments, your relationship, your spiritual life, your career, and all of that. But if you have people to look up to in all these departments, it makes life a lot easier. So I have a mentor for my spiritual life. I don't think I'm the best Christian, but I have people that I look up to and I say, okay, I get guidance on how to lead a very holy life, or as much as possible, a very, positive life. You can have a mentor as well for your career. You can have a mentor as well for your marriage or your relationship, because there are certain people you can look up to, and the way they model I have people that I admire the way they live, as husband and wife. And so before I got married, I had to speak to them and find out, so how does this marriage thing?
Let me be very specific here. We need to get out of that whole entitlement mindset, okay? Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything in this world, okay? The mentor, the guy that you think is the mentor, is busy. He's got stuff going on in his life.
Right.
You need to make the approach, and you need to build a relationship so that you can make the good approach, okay? And like Anthony said and Lexis said, you can learn from anyone. I've learned from people who in the organization were lower than me in terms of rank, right? But they had a skill that, to me, I wanted to learn that skill, okay? And you can learn from anyone. I'm pretty sure that if you guys look really hard, okay, there are so many people around you can learn from. You don't have to, it's not only the guy that comes on TV or radio or you see on LinkedIn or whatever that you can learn from. I think the greatest skill you need to build, right, is that whole lifelong learning sort of behavior where you're always eager to learn. And then if you show that attitude a lot and your approach is right, finding the mentor will not be hard.
Yeah.
There's so many people who've sent me messages on LinkedIn, and I go back to them and I ask, what do you want to learn from me? That's the end of it. They run away. But there are other people who come in with